So today we're going to be making an Easter chalkboard, starting with an old chalkboard I have had from the Dollar Tree or dollar store. It's been up in my cupboard for a while. The only thing you gotta want to be careful when you're purchasing it is that it's at least 1/4 of an inch wide. After that, what you're going to do is I'm using Martha Stewart chalkboard paint in black. I put much too much of it on there. You don't need that much. And you're going to give it 1 or 2 coats on the front, the sides, and the back to cover it all. As it turned out, with the amount that I used, I did require just 1 coat. So there I'm painting using the excess from the front to paint on the sides, but off camera I did go ahead and do the 2nd coat on the back. Now here I'm taking off the excess paint that I had, making sure it's nice and smooth, cleaning off my paintbrush onto a paper towel. And then I let that dry for half an hour, flipped it over, did the other side, and let it dry overnight. Now this chalkboard's really easy to do because I kept the drawing to pretty much none. So what we're going to do next, instead of drawing, we're going to make some fabric carrots. I have a template for you on the blog. The template is 3, 4, 4.5, and 5-inch carrots, so you've got a choice which size you want. I use the 5-inch, and I'm cutting 2 pieces of burlap ribbon that I had on hand. It's large enough to do 2 carrots, okay? Then you're going to take a piece of parchment paper, place your first bit of fabric down for the bottom, cover it with some heat and bond interfacing, iron it to attach, and because I have fake nails, they're too blunt ended to pull the paper off. So what I do is I use my Cricut tool, and I go in a corner, you'll see here, and I pull off 1 corner of it using my Cricut tool, and you'll see a little bit of plastic. So now I pull the paper off, I leave that good side down, cover it good side up with the other piece of burlap, cover it again with the parchment just to protect my iron from the glue, and then I iron it. Now you can do whatever the instructions say on your interfacing. Okay, take it off, and now we got the burlap ready for the bottom. I'm going to speed this up a lot here. This is us doing the top. Doing exactly the same thing. Okay, heat it up, get the paper off, lay it good side down, cover it good side up, cover it in parchment paper, and reheat it so that it attaches. So the very next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our carrots out from our fabric. There's a 5, 4, 3, and 3.5, I think, inch templates on there, and different sizes, so you can make them whatever size you like for your own chalkboard in case yours is smaller. Okay, and now I just cut it out. You can tape it or pin it if you want to, but they're so small I skipped that spot and just held it in place and cut it out with my hand. Doing, as you can see, just the bottom part of the carrot. You repeat that process for the 2nd carrot. I jostled mine around, so I saved a little bit of fabric. I actually have enough for a third carrot, but you go ahead and you chomp that off. Once that's done, we'll take the top of the carrot and the other fabric, and we do almost the same thing, except I want a little tail on this piece, so I cut it across like you see there, and you're going to make 2 snips in your fabric. Now you repeat the exact same process for the second carrot top. But this is how now we're going to go, this is how they'll be put together. See what that little strip of fabric was for? I started with a pen and then switched brands to the dollar store pen because it actually does a better job. But I took and I went around the outside making little dash marks for decoration around the carrot bottoms and the tops. If you look at the top there, you can see how I went all around the outside, and then I made some little dashes in the middle. It's subtle, but it's cute. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to sew them together. Now, I know that people prefer to glue, but to glue, in this case, you'd have to sew them afterwards to get the button on in the middle. So if you want to just glue it together and not sew a button on or use glue the whole time for your ribbon, you can. But I didn't do it that way. What I did was I used some embroidery thread so that you guys could see it easier. Just sewed it a little bit in between to attach those 2 parts. Then I folded a small ribbon, about 4 inches long, I guess. Wrapped it around like that, put it in the middle, and then I passed the needle through it. I gave it an extra stitch from the front to the back. And I happen to find I have a few different choices there, as you can see, for thrift store buttons that I've purchased, and I was deciding which one, and I ended up choosing this soft purple color. I think it's perfect for Easter. And again, I'm just going to sew it to the middle of the carrot using a couple of stitches. So with that all done, I'll show you what the carrot looks like. Right after, we're going to go back and we will return to our chalkboard and start transferring our letters. I think they're adorable. So now we're going to start on the blackboard. And when I've done 2 things, I have printed a backwards copy, which I'll upload to the blog for you. And these come from the dollar store. They're just chalk writers. And I tested it. And when I tested it, it worked. So let's hope it works for us now. All I'm going to do is I'm going to trace over my letters. Where that's kind of light or
kind of dark still. It didn't look like it got a lot of chalk on it. I'm going to recover it here before I flip it. And then once it's flipped again, if it still has some areas, I'll go through there and retouch it up a little bit. Oh, it acts like it's drying on me here. So let's get it on. I have two of these different scrapers. This one comes from the dollar store, and this is my Cricut one. So I'll use the dollar store one in case you don't happen to have a Cricut machine. And because I know that I'm going to put the carrots more on this side, I'm going to put my Happy Easter off a little bit to this side. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay, just like about there.
So here I'm just using the corner of the scraper to cover over the lettering to make sure it transfers. I do every single letter and I check it a couple of times. You'll notice when you flip it up that it kind of feels a little bit waxy, like it sticks a little bit. But you're going to see here, I'm going to cut out a big section of this. I just wanted you to see that I do the entire letters, all this carefully, okay? Now this is where we finally get to see what our design looks like. And I think it looks pretty good the way it is. But I wanted to see which tools, if you had a mess or there was something we wanted to clean up, what would work best on this Dollar Tree wax chalk paint. And I really liked using a really good quality eraser. What it does is it kind of spreads the wax out first. You see it spread there? And then you keep going and it gets rid of it. See that? Now it comes off. Okay. I also went ahead and I tried a damp Q-tip, and the reason I did that is because when I typically use school chalkboard, just regular school chalk, that's what I use, and it works on this as well. I found that it wasn't quite as fine, so it worked on the outside corners better, and you can even use a scraper if you want to get off big chunks. And I went through mine, and you can go through yours and make it as perfect as you want to. But at the end of it, remember, we'll go over it again using the Dollar Tree chalk, and that'll clean up the most of it. So I'm going to speed it up here. So here I am retracing it, and you can see that it makes it much, much brighter. And I did it from one side and the other side. That way you don't have your sleeve messing up your chalk. So I carefully went through every letter like that and brightened it up. Okay, once that's done, now we're on to the ribbon.
So I have a whole basket full of different ribbons here. Unfortunately, I did not have a green that was the right color. That's too dark. This one's too, I don't know, bright, I guess, for want of a better word. But what I do have is I have this wider one. This is a Dollar Tree ribbon. The lace on it, and I'm going to use kind of matches. And then I went ahead and I ripped a piece of fabric. Now the fabric wasn't quite wide enough for my scrap. So I just took a piece of iron sew-on and made a long strip out of it. Okay. So now I got plenty of that too, and that's what we'll use to attach our carrots. So let's get making us a nice ribbon. I say we should cheat and grab the glue gun. I could not. The closest craft store is 100 kilometers or 80 miles away, and it's a Michael's. And you really can't afford Amazon in Canada because even they put the shipping in on the price of it, and well, as you guys know, I'm too cheap. I will not pay for it. So Dollar Tree and Dollarama have saved me because otherwise I wouldn't be able to craft hardly at all. So I'm going to put one here. Let's see if my heating gun's hot enough yet. Not quite, but it's getting there. Now see that little part there that I've seamed? I'll put that at the back of the ribbon. You'll never know. So let's see if this is ready yet. Hopefully. Oh yeah, there it goes. So put a little bit more in here, a little up there. Okay. Now put this down. I'll find the half point in this one. Put it half point there. And I'm going to put it up just a little bit more. Not a lot, just a little bit. But you can't see that. I have the worst time keeping on camera. Okay, so now we got that one. Get rid of that. Even the dollar store one's popping off here. So I'll put some in there. This one here about like that. Yeah. I think I'll take a little piece of florist wire. None of this is wired. Still working pretty good for what we needed to do here. There we go. Now, because I want our rabbit to kind of hang up, our carrots to maybe hang down this side. On there. A little lower. Start by gluing them to our ribbon. Can you see that? Make sure it's a good side up. I'll put one right here. We put the other one, we'll put the other one right beneath it about here. They're so cute, I like them. So now, they look okay, just like that there. Let's give that another twister just to make sure it stays there. And now I can glue fabric to fabric without hurting my chalkboard, which is what I'm going to do. Now, I do not want to put this face down here, so I'm going to do it this way. Now, we got our 2 carrots. And if you